So in the song, what does me, myself, and I mean? Why does the singer keep talking about me, myself, and I? Right, it all means me. Nobody else, just me. Me, myself, and I. And this expression, me, myself, and I, is used a lot in English to emphasize no one else, just me. But these three forms, I, me, myself, also can explain a lot about the different parts of speech, especially how they're different in English. So I is often the subject, right? So we have a sentence like, I saw Bill. And we have the subject, the verb, and the object. I saw Bill. But what if you switch this around? Bill saw me. Subject, verb, object. Now we use me. Now this may be really basic for many of you, but the thing that I want to emphasize is even though I and me changes, Bill doesn't. Only the pronouns in English change. So if I had, I saw the cat saw me. It's the same. I saw Ali and Miriam and Katie. I saw all of them, all of these different names. It's not going to change. Whether it's the object or the subject, or I, me, he, him, they, them. All of these pronouns change, but these don't. So this is going to be important later. We use me in another situation. So this is one where it's the object. Also, if it's the indirect object. So that's if we use something like, he gave it to me, he threw it at me, it was for me. So anytime you have a phrase, subject, verb, object, then going to an indirect object. Bill gave the present to me. Bill, subject, gave verb, present object, to me, indirect object. Okay, does this make sense? So we have two cases here. Myself might be a little bit more tricky. If these ones are all about this, Bill saw me, I saw Bill, like an arrow, myself can be used as a reflective term. Where you're the subject and the object. I saw myself in the mirror. I hit myself playing baseball. I noticed myself making mistakes. So this reflective is a little bit more of a going back arrow. This isn't the only case in English where we use myself. We also use it, like in that song, me, myself, and I, to emphasize that it's you and nobody else. So that might be like a small child. Like if you were a small child and you're tying your shoes and your mother comes over and you say, no, 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 I can do it myself. So really emphasizing you and nobody else. Is everybody very clear about this? Okay. Now it gets a lot more difficult when you add these other people into it. And this is where even a lot of native English speakers make mistakes. because these words don't change. Names, regular nouns, not pronouns, they get tossed up, they get mistaken. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at, I have passed out to all of you this handout, and it has some different sentences on it, and we're going to put it on the overhead, and we're going to go through and work these sentences together, trying to replace me, myself, or I. So let's look at the first one. The only survivors were the dog and, this one's tricky, I. Yeah. The only survivor was I. You might colloquially, just because of the way that people speak, say me. The only survivors were the dog and me. But to be really absolutely 100% correct, it would be I. So it is I, right? So a little bit more formal, but yeah. So I is ideal here. Me, I'll take me just because that's a little bit less formal. That's how English often works. Okay, how about this next one? I had to see the wreckage for myself, right? Me and nobody else, right? I had to see the wreckage for myself. Emphasis. Nobody else. Okay, how about the next one? The ninjas and I fought for several minutes. And if you ever get confused on these, just cut out that other part. I fought for several minutes, right? So just cut out the other part. You can send the ransom either to Cambria or... Oh, you guys made some mistakes. Okay, yeah, a lot of times people will say, you can send the ransom to Cambria or I, because they're thinking, oh, I, that's so professional. But no, cut out Cambria, right? You can send the ransom to me. This is one of these ones, right? Indirect object. Send ransom, object, to me, indirect object. Yeah, so this is a one, a lot of English speakers will make this mistake, but just cut out Cambria, and now it's me. So what I'd like you to do now is we've gone through half of these together. I want you to, in pairs, go through the other half, fill them in with what you think, me, myself, or I, and in about, I can give you 5 minutes. We'll put these up on the board and we'll go through them again as a class and just check in on these. Later, I'm going to make you start on your reflection. So these words are going to be really useful when you work on your reflection to talk about, I did this myself, right? They sent the documents to Luis or me, right? So this will come in your reflection when you talk about your group project. But right now, yep, just get in your partners, 5 minutes, work on these 5. Okay.